to try to get through the tournament as quick as fast possible so we can watch the Yankees and the Tigers.
There you go.
Well, you know, it's an exciting time, and one thing I told my team upstairs, and some of you were there, and I do think it's fun and sad every time I watch it now, and that's, you know, we used to be one of those teams sitting around the end of our seats, cheering and yelling and screaming and excited that we got in the tournament, and I hope our fans and our players realize it's still an accomplishment, a big accomplishment, and it's fun to feel that way. You know, I don't know a lot about North Carolina State yet. I know they were 27-7 and won both the regular season and the conference tournament. I don't know the head coach, Dave Richmond, but he's had 11 seasons there, and this is his fourth NCAA tournament appearance at different schools, so he has some experience. 4 players scoring double figures, led by a guard, Damari Thomas Wheeler, 14 and a half. And they shoot a lot of threes, 25, 26 threes. They have a kid named a guard that played for DJ over at Western Michigan and transferred there. They have a first team all-league player in Carson, and as I said, the team averaged 25 threes and 80 points a game, allowing only 69, so they've got to be pretty good defensively. I think they pressure a little bit. They average 8.5 steals a game. So as always, when you go into these tournaments, you know your competition, but worry more about your team, and that's kind of, we had practice today and tried to iron out a few things that we thought we didn't do a good job of in the last game, and rewatched the game a million times, and there were some things we did do a good job of. UCLA played awfully well, and as we learned the next day when they played Purdue, and you know, Dent didn't even play. I think he played 9 minutes, and they gave them a game till the end. So we got beat by a good team. We didn't play our best, and that's what you hope to be doing at tournament time. But I'm really excited about this. You know, it's one game at a time. It's Thursday. We're in Buffalo. No idea what time the game will be. But, you know, sometimes you like playing on Friday instead of Thursday because you need a little rest if you go a little deeper in the tournament. One advantage of not going deep in the tournament is we should be ready to go by Thursday and play a game and then watch it all unfold as we do every year. Questions?
Tom, Carson and Jack were just up here talking about how they didn't think that their mentality was completely on UCLA. They may have been looking a little bit down the road, hopefully for a Michigan rematch. I assume that's something that you guys talked about and something that you don't imagine will be a problem at this point in time now.
You know, I don't think it'll be a problem at all, and number one. But number two, I actually appreciate their honesty. I'm disappointed in the fact that, you know, seniors should know better. You know, I guess I knew when we played UCLA here, it was coming off those 2 tough road games. I followed them after that when they beat Illinois and won 5 out of 6. I know Mick well enough. I know the kind of practices he had the next 2 days. I know how good they are defensively, and I thought getting their guard back healthy, changing the lineup to go small ball, all those things created some issues, and yet when you watch the game, they made some threes, you know, and we cut it to 5 3 different times, and they hit a 3 all 3 times. And I give that credit to them, but our focus better be on one thing, and that's North Dakota State. As we all know, we've been part of a 15-2 game. So I have apprehension, and I'm excited that we're semi-close enough that a lot of our fans will be able to get there, and I think we'll make sure they're focused. I mean, if that did happen, that's partially the coach's fault. You gotta make sure it doesn't happen.
You said up there, I don't think we celebrate these things enough, but I'm wondering if, I don't know, is part of the reason you make a big deal of it, and you even invite us, and you have the families there,
insanity,
and the president,
right?
and the AD. I mean, is that part of what you're doing to remind people that this is significant?
Well, you know, I don't know if I'm reminding them. I feel that we should celebrate it with the people that have all been a big part of what we're doing, you know. So as always, I bring my student secretaries, I bring my managers, I bring you guys, and you know, President and AD, you know, want to be there, and that's a pretty cool thing that you got all that in your school and your city. And so, yeah, I do want to remind people not to forget, because it's easy. I mean, this is our 28th, 7th, 8th? 28th. I don't even know, but 28th time, and I mean, the streaks are made to be broken, and it's hard to maintain that kind of deal. And even Jeremy said to me, you know, remember 2-3 years ago, we were one of the last ones picked, and he said that was stressful. And here, you know, I think Matt said to me, you know, when you're one of the last ones picked, it seems like you're the last group. And when you know you're at least gonna get in, here we are, the first group, you know. It's kind of bad, because back then it was a long wait till that last couple of picks. But yeah, I really do, I hope our fans, more than anybody, because taking things for granted is always a recipe for disaster, no matter what. Whether it be a player, whether it be a coach, whether it be a fan base.
Probably through history, that a lot of the Sweet 16 Elite 8 runs have sort of come in bunches, where teams that have experience making it tend to make it the next year. What can your team, especially the core 4 starters that were on the team last year and played minutes, take away from last year's run and apply, especially when it comes to not taking anyone lightly?
Yeah, well, that's why those two guys better sleep uneasy tonight, if that's what they did. And I don't believe they did that. I think we got beat by a team that played better than us, but there's got to be 100% focus, because it's just the way it is. I mean, it was proven 4 or 5 years ago that a 1 can lose to a 16, you know, and the parity is so much different now, the way these crazy rules are, and so you have to focus on the first team, and that's what we'll do. We will prepare for all 3 teams, because that's what we do. The deal is here to win the weekend, and you know, it's what I learned, it's what I do, it's what I copied, and I think it's valid. And I already know that you got to win the first one before you get to the second one. But with those quick turnarounds, I think that's one of the things that's helped us over the years, is that we will have assistance, we will have work. A little harder this year from a standpoint of when it's a Friday game, you can take Monday and work on all 3 teams. When it's a Thursday game, you get to leave Tuesday. You know, Monday is pretty much your last real day where you get a good practice in, because once you go on the road, it gets a little crazy. So we'll talk tonight. You know, it seems like lately, I mean, you guys might know, Matt, when's the last time we played on a Thursday? It's been a while now. Don't tell me last year, then I'll look at it.
Last year.
So it was last year live.
It feels like last year.
Yeah.
Last year was Friday.
I think it's been a little bit of time, or not very often have we played Thursday, put it that way.
Coach, that was your granddaughter on your lap, correct, while watching the show. How do you reflect upon your career to this point, when you're able to have your family so close to you watching such a big moment?
Lucky, yeah, that's all I do, lucky. Family, friends, media, you know, really. I mean, known a lot of you guys for a lot of years. That's the one advantage of being in the same place, and there's disadvantages. But the advantages is you do get to share it with people you know, you like, and I mean, a lot of people don't get to do that. So I feel blessed. I'm lucky I get to do it. And then when you have a granddaughter, that's even more special. You know, someday when I'm gone, there'll be a picture of me and her sitting there probably, and that'll be cool too. For her memory-making moments and her one chapter to her book someday.
As an aside, are you gonna push her into coaching?
Hell no, man. She ain't married into it, she ain't getting into it. I hate to say it, but that is the truth. That ain't happening. It's too great.
I wanted to ask you about just the bracket overview. I mean, you got to see some of the teams that are in that bracket. You've seen them up close with Duke and UConn and UCLA and Ohio State, and I'm just wondering.
Michigan.
Yeah, well, they're not in your side, they're on
Oh.
the bracket, they'll be in Buffalo, but they're not.
Oh, I
in
see. You mean
East yet.
just my
In
side
that
of the
East
bracket.
bracket, I mean, there's a lot of potential for repeat plays, and I'm wondering, when you're prepping, and in this time of the year, is that a help, or have these teams changed so much and markedly in that time that it doesn't matter?
You know, like, you look at UConn, we played them the second game of the year, you know, and it was an exhibition game. And, you know, who else is in that?
Duke. back in
I guess
December.
UCLA we just played.
Yeah.
And
Ohio
Duke,
State.
you know, they've had injuries, they've had different people have gotten better, the freshmen are becoming sophomores, you know. I don't know, I mean, it helps with the X's and O's part of it, it doesn't help with the Jimmies and Joes, I think, as much. You gotta make sure you understand what they're doing, what their tendencies are, all that stuff, but, I feel really good about quick turnarounds, that's one thing we've done a pretty good job here over all the years I've been here. But anytime you play a team, I mean, if you ever ran into UCLA again, for example, it's not an advantage for us because it's the same for them. But it makes it a little bit easier in some ways to prep for them anyway. Not play them, but prep for them.
We'll do a couple more, and then remember, we have the press conference tomorrow. We'll start over here. Lindsay, we'll get over to you after that. Go ahead.
Coach, you mentioned over the years the term, or the phrase I should say, distractions and dirtbags. Does this time of year heighten that, or do you think this time of year makes it easier to lock in and then focus on the goal at hand?
I think it makes it easier to lock in for the players. I think it makes it easier for the distractions and dirtbags to lock in. How's that for an answer? You know, I think your players, you know, you can kind of convince them, but the outside noise, and depending what it is, you know, from the transfer portals to the money to there's just so many different things, you know, that, I mean, it's always in the tournament, it's always, you get more cousins than you ever thought you had, you get more uncles and brothers than you ever thought you had. So I don't know, you know, I think that my team is mature enough that we'll be able to handle that, to be honest with you. And, but no, I think it heightens. I really do. I think the stakes go up, so people come crawling out of the woodwork.
I wanted to ask you also about your granddaughter, and also, do you have memories of your kids at that age on Selection Sunday? Can you share a couple of those? And then what's changed since then, and what's stayed the same in your world?
You want me to get philosophical, huh? I gotta go deep here. You know, I do remember when Raquel was little, because she more or less lived here, you know, and then when Stephen came along, we got a great picture up there, Kelvin Torbert and Stephen sitting on his knee when he was 4, and I think back then we had some of the selection shows in my basement, you know, it wasn't quite as big, it wasn't quite as big a deal, but it's always great to have your kids and now your grandkids involved in it, because they know the other side of the job, you know, this is the celebration side, that they do know what it takes to get here. I mean, whether it be the days that they didn't get a chance to see us, or all the things like that. So I don't remember a specific time, I just know that she was always there. Lupi had her there all the time, and Raquel, and then when Stephen came along, he was always there too, and he was fun. He was fun to have around, and it was fun to have around 20 years later when I coached him. So it's been again a blessing for me that my family, my kids have stayed around. You know, everybody's got a different way to look at it, but for me, I always say, if you're going to celebrate incredible things that happen to you in your life, it's not the same if you don't have your kids with you. And so I feel fortunate in that respect. Not that I got a lot of friends that kids are all over, and that's, God bless them, but I like our way, personally.
Tom, for this time of year, how much of this prep for you is autopilot, and then how much of it that you gotta be like eyes wide open for certain things?
What I spent last night and this morning doing was I really went through that film and right and left and looked at all the things that I think are important: ball screen defense, transition defense, rebounding, press breakers, just different things, going against zone, going against man, because you gotta do all those things, because you don't know what someone's gonna bring on you. You can watch film and get an idea, but like today, we covered a lot of those things, because tomorrow, you know, we'll have an early morning meeting, with the team, and that'll be all on North Dakota State, and, I think with the quick turnaround, that's the way it'll be, and, so, you know, I don't know, it's, I kinda feel good that, we know what we're doing as a staff, you know, we've had experience, that's one thing age brings is experience. Getting it through the 20-year-old is sometimes challenging in itself, but for the most part, we know what we're doing, but we don't play the game. And the great part of knowing what you're doing is you have to convince them that they gotta trust you in what you're telling them. We had a couple of things happen the other day, even in the game, fouling and this and that, where I did not think we did as good a job, and I blamed the kid after the game, and I blamed my staff and myself in the meetings, because it is our job to get it through to them. And we can do it by hugging and kissing like all you people want nowadays. You can do it by chewing their ass. You gotta figure out what you gotta do, but you better get it through to them, because that is, the little things is why you win and lose games. And the chances are in the NCAA tournament, most games are gonna be very tight. So free throws are gonna matter. You know, situations are gonna matter. Out of bounds plays are gonna matter. The little things matter, and you've heard coaches say that for 100 years. And until you lose a game on a free throw cutout, you get a 5-point lead, it doesn't hit home. The problem is, it hit me right in the frickin' highs, okay? But I didn't have anybody playing now that was playing then. So sometimes they have to go through it, or I have to do a good job of finding a way to convince them. How do I do that? I tell them what I went through. Then I've hired some guys on my staff, and I got some guys as GAs that went through it. That's the advantage of having players around that played for you. And then I'll make some phone calls, and by tomorrow, those guys will be getting phone calls from some of the guys that didn't do it. And that's kind of the way I try to approach it. And I'm not that good. I try to get help from every single person I can get, because getting through to these guys with all the dirtbags and distractions that there are is challenging, and yet I think really important.
Good, thanks so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's it.
See you tomorrow.